Good afternoon. Welcome to another meeting of the Berlin Council on Aging. This is being broadcast by Zoom because of the lingering effects of COVID and everybody chickening out on meeting in person. But I will call the roll of those who are here. As soon as I find the roll. There we are. Karen Schultz.
Here.
Rachel Boyer is not, I understand. Lori Fairbay.
Here.
Kate Bliss.
Here.
Didn't hear a yawn there at all. Pat Wheeler.
Hold on just a sec. Pat's call dropped. Oh, hold on. Pat, Bob's doing roll. Say you're here.
Okay.
Okay, that works.
That works.
Very good. Chris Keefe, I see you're here.
Yeah.
Victoria Flynn.
Here.
Anyone else?
Mm-mm.
Pat
That's
Wheeler.
it.
There you go. And Pat Wheeler, we're good to go.
All righty, super. So we can dive into I did see in emails that the Powderhouse News has arrived.
Did it? Because it hasn't come downstairs yet. So I'll check the door on my way out.
Yeah, it said
it says
11
o'clock.
something this morning, according to the shipping thing.
That's
Yep.
interesting because they normally bring it down when they bring it in. So I'll grab it.
No worries. Okay, how many 100 volunteers do we have for helping fold and staple and trash the Powderhouse News? Anybody got time tomorrow to work on that?
It's tomorrow.
I mean, I'll grab it in the
Wed-
morning when I come in and I'll start working on it.
Wednesday, let me just see what I've got shaken. Tomorrow's supposed to be rainy. Otherwise, I'd be over trying to assemble the Hearst house. That's let me just see. The
Can
weather's
we,
supposed to
can we fold some while we're,
be yawning.
between grabbing, go people?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
When I,
Oh, there you go. Just don't hand them the Powderhouse News instead of the food, though. Well, you can say that Powderhouse News is food for thought,
Mhm.
or maybe you don't want to go there. Okay,
Well, I'll let
So-
you handle the puns, Bob.
yeah, well. Is that puns part of the bread part of the meal? Let me see.
And Bob's puns are free.
They are sometimes rejected. Let's see. Trying to find a stupid weather. Here it is, or nice weather, whichever it is. It says 70% chance of rain tomorrow.
Mm.
Poop poopy do.
yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so. What'd you say, Pat? Are you
No,
yelling at
no,
us?
no, 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 no. No, no, no. That wasn't Pat.
Oh. Was it an anonymous person? All right. So. This is not being helpful. I'm trying to see. Sorry, I'm not trying to be elusive here. I'm just trying to see what's, oh. Well, I can come over and start folding before 10:15, until 10:15.
All right. I'll be here by 8.
And then pretty much the rest of the day is munched. So, good. So this, you already got, I don't have to go into the Meals on Wheels. We already got that taken care of.
Yep.
They still can't count. I think whoever's packing it doesn't get how many breads and milks are supposed to be in there. I think that's what the issue is.
I don't know because we're having issues on Thursdays too. So I don't know.
Well, Thursday's got one less than I do, so it'll be interesting to see if there are 5 breads and milks. That means they're counting by the number of people on the list, not by the number of meals.
That's what I think's going on.
Yeah, so that's easy enough to fix. So the food has been going out left and right, left, right. Karen Schultz submitted minutes of the previous meeting. Do we hear anybody
It's, we've got two agendas. So we've got the meeting from September that Kate submitted. And then Karen submitted meeting minutes from, July.
Yes.
Okay. Has anyone read them and have any complaints, suggestions, motions for approving them as submitted?
Have any complaints or suggestions, so I make a motion to approve them as submitted.
Do I hear a
Both.
second?
I second.
I second.
All right, so it's moved and seconded. I'll call the roll for approval. Karen Schultz,
Aye.
Lori Fairby,
Aye.
Kate Bliss,
Aye.
Pat Wheeler,
Aye.
Bob Alair, aye. So we have unanimous approval of that. That's terrific. Wow, our first order of business is unanimously approved. Can we have an update on our money bag situation?
Kate, Karen, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. For donations, we have $376. Expenses are $770.29. Part-time wages are $1,331.87. And then director wages are $2,580.24.
Got
What
it.
are you doing? What are you doing with that 24 cents anyway? That's what I want to know. Never
Planting
mind, just write it down. Okay. I don't think, we don't need to have a vote on whether or not the fiscal update is correct, because I can sense honesty in the eyes of the person presenting them. How about a report on Tai Chi, yoga, and all other extracurricular activities?
So yoga has resumed as of the 15th. So it is ongoing on Saturdays again. Tai Chi is ongoing. For the blood pressure clinics, the next scheduled one should be on next Thursday, the 3rd. But I have to call Neshoba Boards of Health because they're down to just 2 nurses. So I have to see if they're going to be able to come out, or they may hold off until they get more nurses in.
What kind of turnout have you been having on those?
We get a handful of people. Honestly, most of the staff here actually use it more so than residents themselves, but it honestly just depends, because we've started to get some calls, people asking when we're going to have them, and I'll just remind people when it comes. So
Okay, is there anything going on with COVID shots? Because they keep coming up with boosters. I know you can go to CVS and all that sort of thing. But has anything been offered up by Neshoba or anybody else about
no,
offering COVID clinics or boosters?
Neshoba is not doing any COVID clinics at this time. Northbrooks are not doing COVID clinics anymore either. So if anybody is interested, I've been telling people, call me if you have any questions or any difficulties booking appointments. And we have gotten calls in for flu and for COVID vaccines, and we've been able to get them booked and transportation when needed.
That's the second question, is we're able to give them rides to it if they need it.
It's a priority ride. So I know kind of when the rides are scheduled. And so what I'll do is I'll just tell people, hey, look, like this afternoon, we don't have anything booked. You might want to book it now, and it's worked out fine.
Okay, used for Vax clinics. And where are people asking to go for them generally?
Usually, I'm telling people the closer to Berlin, the better, just to make sure we can accommodate. We've done rides to Westboro, Hudson, Marlboro, Northborough, Clinton, literally just the surrounding towns. No one's had any issues. No, people honestly aren't that picky. So it's made it easy for us.
Has there been any difficulty with people scheduling boosters? No,
No.
because I go to Northborough CVS and it seems to be pretty if you're in there and ask about it, they say, would you like to get one now? Well, not terribly, but I suppose I would if they're available.
No, the concern right now is from DPH and, like on a federal level, is people aren't getting these next round of boosters. And that's the concern going into winter.
And how about flu shots? Are people,
So they
Looking for
did
those?
have the BMS clinic on the 6th. I think about 18 to 20 people signed up for it. But Neshoba boards have been doing clinics all throughout the month of October, and you didn't have to go to, like, Berliners could have registered for other clinics if that day didn't work. I think another thing too is some people are trying to do like both shots at the same time, depending
Yeah.
again on their comfort level, and that's
Yeah.
totally up to them. But I think, we're starting to hit like that season. So I suspect like, into November, we're gonna get more calls.
you got anybody asking about any other kinds of shots like shingles shots or any of those or?
Most people, rarely I think gotten questions about shingles or pneumococcal. I mean, I've told them if they wanted to book it, they could. A vaccine's a vaccine, and we'd still prioritize the appointment. But I think they're really just going off of what their, physicians are recommending, which is,
Right.
you know,
All right, so we are handling people's.
Yeah.
Keeping up to date on their shots and so forth as much
And
as
then
possible.
if people have questions about registration, because pretty much everybody now is purely online registration. So if anybody needs any help with that, we've been doing that.
Great. Nice, good work. COA event ideas.
I just want to give you guys an update. So the van is going to be heading up to Mobility Works in Londonderry, New Hampshire on November 2nd. So when we got the van, Mobility Works put in the wheelchair lift and mechanisms to operate it. They also added a like emergency exit on the roof of the van, like in case like the van like ever had an accident, not that it's going to, but in case it ever did, like for safety's sake, it could come out. So that roof hatch is leaking. So we had to figure out, like Mary and I had to figure out like who installed it, because I wasn't sure if it was Ford or if it was Mobility Works, but we figured out it's Mobility Works. I got an appointment in for the 2nd. Fred took a look at it on Friday. He took a look at it with me last week, and he was saying that when they put in the escape roof hatch, it's technically sitting above the natural lines of the roof of the van. So like when the van was created, like there were like little channels or ports like kind of carved into the metal, so that way like rain would wick away.
Right,
But the problem is that because the roof hatch is sitting a little bit higher than the natural like edge of the van, it's pooling. So thankfully the van is stored indoors at the old highway barn, so it's not being like left constantly out to the elements. But one of the drivers did call and tell me that he's noticing water on the thing. We've never opened it. I've never opened it. Highways never opened it. I highly doubt the drivers have ever opened it. So it's not due to us like opening it, not closing it correctly. So they said it should be under warranty. So what they're going to do is that Fred was going to put in like a temporary solution just to prevent any, damage. But they're going to go in and they're going to take a look at it, and hopefully worst case scenario, it's just the seals that can pop out and then go back in again.
but if
So
it's operated, those seals are gonna remain, are gonna
Well-
retain their integrity.
So what we're gonna do is, he said to me that because the age of the roof hatch is, it's still very young. He said
Yeah.
that whatever work that they're gonna do should be covered by warranty. We shouldn't be on the hook for anything. So what I'm gonna do is I will call them on the 2nd, and I'm gonna just like kind of bug for updates and just say like, this is our concern. Fred said that what he could do is he could put like silicone to seal around it, but I told Fred I didn't want him to do it until they saw it first, because I didn't
Right.
want us to then like, I didn't want them to come back and be like, no, it's fine. And it's like, no, it's not fine. Like this should not be leaking.
Right.
So, what I was gonna do.
That work
Right,
negate
so-
what they would do to repair it,
Exactly.
you know?
And I didn't
Yeah.
want to do anything that was gonna like potentially like keep us on more on the hook. So what I was gonna do is, I'm gonna have them take a, take a look at it on that Wednesday, and then, next Wednesday, and then what we'll do is I'll see if I can get Fred to take a look at the van once it's back. And just, well, we're just gonna have to just be careful with it. We may have to, taking his suggestion, like siliconing the out, like around that may not be a bad idea, but I want them looking at it, and I'm gonna be on them to be like, this has to be weatherproof. Like this cannot, water should not be seeping in here.
How much time did they say they expect to have it up there?
So what they're gonna do is they're also gonna check the wheelchair lift as well, because it's already up there. I'm like, we may as well. I'm like, it hasn't been, the wheelchair lift hasn't been reviewed since we've gotten the van, just because we haven't had we haven't had a year of full use yet. So due to like in between like drivers. So I just told them, I'm like, just do both. I'm like, you're already in there, do both. They're estimating like, we're booking out the day. I've already told Peggy, do not book anybody for that day. And our driver's gonna take it up and wait with the van. What we'll do is, it sounds like it's just gonna be a 1-day job. So
Is this something where our driver has to take it up there, or do they come down and pick it up?
we're gonna take it up.
Are they providing lunch for the driver while he's holed up there, or what does they give him a cot or something, or?
Well, the drivers know that if they are up there, like for any kind of service, like they're still on the clock until
Yeah,
and they're back. So she's aware that it's gonna be her day.
wow.
Pack a lunch and take a good book.
Pretty much.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
First
I mean,
creepy.
it's not ideal, but it's like, I'd rather have them because they are the ones that put the stuff in. They are the ones that have to.
Yeah, no,
In New Hampshire,
Yeah.
you said?
that totally makes sense. I just, if we ever get a chance to give them give the machine a review, it can't be, can't be 4 stars, that's for sure. We've had more darn little issues with the bugger
And
all the
we still
time we've
got
had
some,
it.
we still have some sensors that are still waiting to come in. So it's, the check engine light still comes on. So I'm like, at this point, it is what it is until they come in.
Are they like apologetic or say, gee, this is an anomaly? Most of our vehicles come out and have no issues.
Well,
Or
so
what-
Mobility Works is only responsible for the wheelchair lift and the roof hatch. Colonial Ford is the one who's servicing the van itself, but it just, they don't have the parts. So they're just like, and I asked them, I said, do you guys have any idea when they're coming in? And they couldn't give me a direct answer.
Do you have any communication with the state? Because they're the ones who funded it.
Yeah, I'm talking to Kristen about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they ought to be aware of that, because if this is something that happens more than just to us, maybe they ought to look for a different contractor to provide the vans.
Yeah, so,
Wow, that's annoying.
yep.
So we lose a day, maybe more, but we don't, well, if it's more than that, so then what? Then what does the driver
So
do?
what we're gonna do is, Peggy is gonna confirm rides for next week, but I'm gonna give everybody a heads up too of like, listen, here's the deal. And we're just gonna be honest with them, and hopefully, because this is not like a mechanical issue, like we should still be able to get the van back that day. It just may need to go up a second day, worst case scenario, to get if something else needs to be addressed.
Is
Wow.
it available on the 8th for people to get rides to vote?
At this point, we're still, yes. So at this point, what we're doing is we've told people, and it's on the Powder House, that if they want requests for rides for voting, just to let us know. But at the same point too, like if somebody, because early voting is still going, up to the 8th, like if, say, for example, like the 8th, like just didn't work, we got flooded with like medical rides, we could still take people earlier for early voting. So we would figure out a way to accommodate. We've got requests so far. So we'll figure it out.
I don't mean to be a Grinch, but it almost seems with all these issues that are not of our doing, that if we have to pay for a driver to sit up there for a day, or if the driver has to get transportation back because they're not done with it in the day, somebody beside us ought to be paying that tab.
So what's happened in the past is I've had to do Ubers, from Colonial for the driver when they've taken it. If it gets to that point, we'll figure something out. Like they're pretty good about keeping me posted, like, and I tell them like, I want an update by noon, I want an update by 2, like, they're pretty good. So, yeah.
Are they
we'll
pretty
figure
good
it
at
out.
reimbursing?
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
I mean, at this point, there's not much that we can do like in the immediacy. I think it's something that we can pursue.
Yeah, well, definitely we need to get things
help.
fixed and back on the road as fast as possible, but I just, us paying for a bunch of hours for driver to take it to Colonial, to take it up to New Hampshire, to take it to Colonial again, yada, yada, yada. There should be some kind of compensation for that. That's not part of normal vehicle
So-
wear and tear.
And that's part of what Kristen had said with WRTA is that, even if they don't provide vehicles, sometimes they provide funding to towns. So that's something that she was gonna help me look into, is to see if we can even approach them for stipends. Even if it's, even if it doesn't cover everything, it's like, it's just still something.
Yeah.
What about a loaner for the person who has to take the van up there?
I mean, the problem is gonna be is that like, if we had to leave the van, like, we could try to get like a loaner vehicle, but if it doesn't have a wheelchair lift, now we've just eliminated.
Right,
Well,
they have-
It might just
Most
be. to get
places
that
don't have
person.
loaners right now. They've like sold them. They don't have,
Well, that's true.
yeah, with everything that's gone on.
I'm just
And-
thinking, not necessarily a loaner van, but a loaner moped or hearse or whatever,
I mean,
something
we
with
do-
wheels and a motor.
So that the person doesn't have to be up there all day.
I
Right.
mean,
I've
We
heard,
could
I
try,
have a relative who's in the business and there are no loaner vehicles available for anybody. It's just, I don't know if they've sold them off or, like you can't get a rental for anything.
Wow.
like I said, if worst case scenario and I've got to get them an Uber back, that's not a problem. Like that will happen. But we'll have to figure it out. In case it
Yeah.
happens today.
Okay. Well, I'm beginning to be less gung ho about our, not with respect to the flexibility of use that you have when you own the vehicle and schedule it yourself, as opposed to the RTA doing that scheduling because they have zones and all this other stuff they have to adhere to. So I think we gained some use by not doing that, but this other stuff is ridiculous. All right, enough of that, Grumpy Bob. Let's go on to COA events idea, unless somebody else has something they want to bring up. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut anybody off. Anybody want to weigh in?
Karen, you're
No?
muted.
Yep, sorry, I was muted because someone came in to talk to me. Yoga, you said resumed on 10:15?
Yep.
Anything with Tai Chi?
Still going.
Oh, that's been ongoing.
Yep.
Okay. Excellent.
Hey.
Okay.
COA events ideas.
So we do have the grab and go meals tomorrow night. At this point, we have 92 meals. Chef du jour should be here by 3:30 the latest. The vast majority of them are delivery, and the vast majority of that is Pleasant Street. So that's convenient.
Northbrook 1 and 2.
Yeah, and some other, houses on Pleasant, so.
Oh.
What time do you want us there?
So I would say usually it takes them like 15 to 20 minutes to get set up, at least for like the first round. And I'll have everything set up for them by 2. But I would say if you guys want to get, like, if you want to come for like 3:45, just because people are going to be doing pickups. I've been telling them like between 4:30 and 5, just because I know when Chef du jour comes, like their priority is always to get the deliveries out because they are the vast majority of the orders. So yeah, so I would say like 3:45-ish. I have to leave tomorrow by 5:30 the latest, but I would think that most of the meals should be, picked up and delivered by then.
Okay. I might be a few minutes late.
Give me, 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
It's
fine.
4 is good.
Yeah, that's
For me.
fine.
I may have 2 in tow if it's.
I don't care.
um,
That's fine.
yeah.
I would just say like, I mean, I don't think earlier than 3:45 is really gonna do much.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I can do tomorrow afternoon for deliveries also, so.
I can deliver too if you need.
okay.
Yep. Deliver and fold Pot House News. Well,
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Actually, maybe I'll bring my kids and they can help fold.
oh,
Bring them into the fold. That's always good. We need more volunteers. Twinkle Tour, what's happening?
So, I have been trying to meet with Judy to get a video made. We've been over 2. I'm hoping we can be, we can get a video shot soon. The cutoff for registration is November 18th. And then decorations have to be up before December 1st. Berlin Seniors, I know, is meeting on Thursday. I'm sure Judy's gonna have more information at that point. I was able to secure a couple maps of the town that we could use, to make the maps, if Clinton Offset wanted to do that and go forward that way.
Okay. Probably, yeah, this, on the maps, I don't know, maybe, does anybody else have any idea about how to make the map supremely useful as you're driving around, so that people don't drive up a tree trying to see what number 36 on South Street looks like? In other words, does the map just have numbers and then you flip it over and number 36 tells the actual address?
Well, I think it would depend on like the size of the map that you want to make.
Right.
So like you hypothetically could have a basic map of like, just like highlighting kind of the route of the town with like little like markers. And then like on the side next to it, it could say, like this Gates Pond, this Pleasant, this South, and then, like next to it. So then you can kind of see, where you're at.
Okay, so that's ongoing. Let's see. By the end of, yeah, so about the time we have our next meeting, all that stuff will be locked up, all of the details out there.
Yeah. And then what I'll do too is I know that there's a meeting coming up tomorrow night, I think it's tomorrow night or Thursday night for conservation. So, and it's got the blinky signs right now. So what I was gonna do is, I'm gonna ask Fred if once conservation's meeting is done, if he can put a, highway blinky sign update for, Twinkle Tour for registration.
A blinky for the Twinkies. That's good. Okay. Clinton Offset said letter is pending to local companies about sponsorship.
Yeah, I'm drafting a letter now. I want Kristen to review it just to make sure verbiage wise we're solid. She's on vacation right now, but she's back, I think, at the end of the week. So the thing that I want to ask you guys is, are there any local like companies? I mean, I would assume like, general store, the farms here, just any local companies or that you think may want to be part of the sponsorship for Powder House.
Maybe some of the contractors who would be called in to do some prepping a house for handicapped accessibility. All of the COA publications I've seen have about 3 or 4 undertakers, but that gets a little depressing if those are overwhelming.
I mean, I know some of them also have like Bouvier Pharmacy or some of the local pharmacies as well. We can certainly ask them.
But doesn't the town clerk have a list of businesses in Berlin?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll ask Eloise for it. I just didn't know if there was anything even like bordering Berlin that we wanted to pursue.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, that takes a little noodling, but yeah, for sure.
We have time because we're not, the first issue with Clinton Offset would be March, April 2023. So we
Oh,
still
I
have,
thought it was,
I
I
thought it
thought that was
January.
January, February.
no, we have one more issue.
Oh,
Yeah, we got one more issue because the contract, our last publication date with LPI will be December 20th.
yeah.
But.
And that will be the January.
So they, in other words, they have the contract until December 20th?
No, that's when our last submission is, because our contract ends at the end of the year.
I see. Huh. I had misunderstood that. I thought January, February is gonna be Clinton offset.
No,
I thought so too.
no, so that's why we still have time. We still got a little time.
Okay, I mean, certainly there are businesses in Hudson for one, Northborough for another.
I
And
mean,
thi- I think it's useful also to look at the publications of some of the other COAs in the area to see who they have for advertisers.
and like I said, we can, so once Kristen approves the letter, I can just start mailing them out to these, to these, whoever's, and, if they want to do it, then that's fine, but then there's still no pressure either way. And, like you said, if they're already, being used by Northborough or Hudson or Marlborough, like they may want to also continue on to Berlin.
I think it might be useful, and I certainly would entertain anybody else's thoughts on the matter. If each of us adopts a certain number of the companies that are going to be contacted and make personal contact with them, not just a letter, but say, that we're part of the Council on Aging and we're hoping that they will find it agreeable to sign on to a publication that puts them in direct contact with 600 and something senior households in Berlin. Anybody have a thought on that?
My question would be, do you want the letters to go out first, or do you want to just start cold calling people first and then just saying like the letter will be coming? Because we could do the letters and then follow up with phone calls.
I know, I think it should all come through one person.
Yeah.
So everything is,
And I mean, like, honestly, like what I'm gonna put down like on the letter is like, if anybody has any questions to call. And then I suspect that we're probably gonna get calls anyway, just regarding more information.
now, were you talking about doing a, not ads for them, but more like a little sponsorship type?
Yep.
Thing
Yep.
where you put their logo and proud sponsor of the Berlin.
Yeah, so the only thing we have to be careful is we can't like highlight one like place more than another. So like if one place has like a ginormous logo, we can't do that. But
Make them
what
all
we could
same.
do is, yeah, exactly.
Yep, got it.
Yeah.
Got it, okay.
And then, we could even like post, we can even like, depending on like what we wanted to do, if we wanted to have like contact information for each of these companies or whatever they are, we could have that listed next to the sponsorship. So if people did want to call or go online or whatever, they could.
Okay,
So that means that future editions of the Powderhouse News will not have a page and a half devoted to ads.
No, but we could have a page for sponsorship.
Hmm.
Depending on how many sponsors we get.
So how does that look as opposed to an ad?
It's probably gonna be like a list. But again, like it's
We are
hard to say.
grateful, we are grateful to the
Yeah.
following
Yeah, exactly. Like,
businesses.
the Berlin Council on Aging would like to thank the following participants for being active sponsors. Boom. Something like that.
Anybody else with input on this?
I'd rather see logos. With maybe each one in a separate box or something so that it stands out a little bit more.
We could. I think what we'll have to do is we're gonna just have to see who wants to do the sponsoring. Cause like I said, if some people have logos and some don't, or like, I think we're just gonna have to see what comes in. But I do think that that's a possibility that like, again, if it's not like 600 companies, yeah, you probably hypothetically could create, little
Yeah.
boxes for each of them.
It just would be a lot more visibility than a little bit of type.
Right.
And Clinton Offset may have a suggestion as well for how to post that as well.
Okay,
What was, I know we said it last time, but I think it has disappeared in the fog of time. What is the prohibition about using advertisements to support our publication?
So municipalities cannot solicit advertisers for their direct thing. Because we were using LPI was doing it. So LPI could because it's its own publication company. We can't do it. Don't ask me why. I don't fully understand it either, but that is what I have been told is that like for our powder house, we cannot ask for advertising space. We can only ask for sponsorships.
Well, who said that?
I got some information from at the state level that's what they're requesting because we had a third party previously. They were the ones handling all that. We were never
Yeah,
involved.
no, I get
So
that. I just wondered-
that's the gray area.
Yeah, I just was wondering who's lowering the boom on doing that.
So if it went through the Friends of the COA, would that be a third party?
No,
Would
because
ads?
I don't believe so. And we don't have one. So but
We don't have any friends?
no. Sorry. No, so at this point, because we are not using a third party entity, like if Clinton Offset were, reaching out saying, hey, listen, like we're doing Powder House and they were advertising for ad space, that might be the gray zone, but they're not. It's gonna be on us.
Bizarre. The government doesn't want us grabbing any of their money, but if we reach out for some, oh well. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, any more on that? No. Moving on. Always, speaking of Powder House, though, we're always looking for additional subject matter. We have a story in this one about Balance Rock Farm, its background and so forth. So we're gonna need one for January, February, and March, April, and so forth. So if you have any inspirations, by all means, speak up and we can go to the people who can provide the articles, material, and crank up another one of the 5W articles. And also, we're continuing to look for recipes. We've got 3 in this edition. I think there was another 1 or 2 still in the oven that we didn't use. And those are always welcome. If you know anybody who's a buffo cook who we should be talking to, let's get information on that so we can contact them ahead of time. We don't get into the last minute panic where, oh geez, we got a page we got to fill, and recipes are nice, but we don't have any.
Talk to Ellen Swinconic.
Ellen Swinconic?
Not to throw you under the bus, Ellen.
And we won't say who said it.
She used to put recipes in the Clinton item.
Okay.
Oh, you say Alan, not Ellen.
Ellen,
No, Ellen.
Ellen.
yeah. She used to be the kindergarten teacher at Berlin Memorial.
Huh.
She's
We-
retired now.
We did up a cookbook for the bicentennial. There are a lot of recipes in there we could pull from.
Yeah.
That's a thought.
We could do like a theme too, depending on the issue, like for like July, August or something like that. It could be more, like summer recipes, like, cause like winter would be more of like your soups, your stews,
Yep.
things
Sure.
like that. Like if we wanted to,
Good, I think, good thought. Yep. Okay. Berlin Community Needs Study.
So the UMass Boston Community Needs Study is going to happen. Kristen and I met with them earlier this month, and we're meeting with them again at some point in November. So this is a survey that is going out to everybody in town 18 and older. And what we are going to do is everybody in the town will be eligible to complete the survey, but no board, committee, town employee is going to see any results. So everything is going to be funneled directly through UMass Boston. They're going to be the ones that are doing the recruitment. They're going to be the ones soliciting out. They are going to be sending out postcards at the very beginning of the new year saying that, like, as of this date, this is when the survey is live. and, you know, information is going to be followed. They are going to get the list of our households that get Powder House News. So all the seniors will be getting the copy of the survey directly mailed to them. That can then be directly mailed back to UMass Boston.
Who
So
creates the survey questions? Is that UMass?
UMass. So what they're doing is they have a template of questions that they've asked other towns. Kristen and I are going to review it. And then if we want to add, you know, particular questions, we can. And then what they're going to do is when that's completed, that's when all the postcards are going to go out to remind people. So
And what guidance do we hope to get from the survey?
just honestly, just the data to back up what we already know, that we're not doing enough for the town, that the needs of many people are not being met. But for us to really get state or federal sway, we need data, because Berlin's just way too small, and we're not going to be, population wise, we're not going to hit it. So we need the data to back it up.
Hmm. So then the data becomes a tool to use for applying for grants.
Yes, and because it's evidence, like it'll be evidence-based data, it'll be, you know, through, you know, a highly regarded institution, you know, because we're not doing it ourselves. I think it's going to be seen with a little bit more clout as opposed to, you know. And
Something
again,
home baked, yeah.
right, and it's going to have more anonymity, because like I said, no one in the town offices are going to know what people are saying, you know, like you all would be able to complete it, you know, anonymously. And like I said, we're never going to know what it is. We've talked about, should we be having copies of the survey here? And I said, no. I said, we should have maybe one master sample copy, that if people wanted to look just to see kind of the questions that are being asked, that's fine. But they have 3 or 4 different ways that the survey can be completed, between a QR code that can be scanned on your phone. There's a website, there's the paper surveys. And then for those who cannot use those options, there's even a phone number that you can call and they'll do it with you over the phone. So we have a few different options that we can use to make sure that this hits everybody. And it is open to everybody 18 and older.
Are the respondents listing their own names and
I don't
contact
know.
info?
So that is the one question I have for them, is how are we going to keep track? Because if we put names, then it's not truly anonymous, but we also don't, like, I also know that some people will be concerned about making sure that like it's not used and abused, which I can understand as well. So I'm going to ask them, like, what is it that they suggest? Like, I don't know if there'd be codes that like each like household would be assigned. I don't know, like if you'd then be putting down just an address. We're not 100% sure. That's the only part of it that I want to ask them about directly.
Hmm. And the timing on this again is what?
January is when the postcards are going out. And then about a week or 2 after the postcards go out is when it's going to go live. Because they're like, there's no point in doing it before the new year. They're like, you're not going to hear anybody. And it's true. Like,
What do you mean when you say goes live?
so the website, the QR codes, like those go live. And then the mailed surveys will be mailed out.
Okay.
There's a write-up on it in the Powder House News.
Because we want people aware now. I suspect what we're probably going to do too is, closer to it coming, we'll bring probably UMass Boston to maybe one of the select board meetings and have them present. And again, just kind of reiterate, hey, here's what's going on, here's what we're going to do, you know. And again, just really reiterating that no one is going to know what you say. We're only going to know at the end, just like the number of participants and what that number as a whole has said. That's it.
And then, in addition to doing grant, this presumably gets devoured by eager minds in our town boards and commissions who want to put it to use for planning.
And that's the thought, is that if we don't have to have every single question be about like aging in place, or like, you know, like it's, you know, we can have questions about like, you know, do you feel comfortable, like if your taxes were to go up like $1 or $2, like, are you going to be okay? You know, do you feel like, you know, do you have any questions about voting or stuff like that? Like, we can make it more broad. So it's still information that, again, like numerous departments could use as opposed to just, as opposed to, for a social service need. But I
Yeah.
think that this could benefit, majority of the boards and committees, honestly.
Okey-do. I think that covers everything that you listed.
Mhm.
Victoria, does anybody have other business that you would like to investigate or bring up?
I did just want to let everybody know, we did get notified from the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. The formula grants process is going to be underway. It's not done as of yet, but they've given us just the idea of what each town is going to be getting. Berlin, because they're taking from 2020 census, we're going to be getting a big bump in what we're receiving from the state. So we will be getting, I don't know exactly when, but we will be getting $14,472.
No sense? It makes no sense? It's just
Nope.
dollars. Okay,
So in the past, normally what they've done is they've released the preliminary, like, here's the amounts. And then normally contracts go out at the beginning of the new year. And then administrator and usually treasurers just sign off on it, that it's, and myself too, like, we just look at it, make sure everything's accurate. And then once that's signed, we have to sign it and then submit it back to Boston. And then once that clears, then they release the money to the towns.
so are you saying that the formula grant is for the entire town budget or
It's
specifically? for
COA
the
budget, it's COA,
COA?
because we had a huge increase in seniors. So the only downfall is that it's gonna stay this amount until they do another state census in like 10 years. That's
How
the
much
only-
time do you have to spend? So this is an annual amount, right?
Yeah, we can roll it over. We have not spent the last 2 years. We've rolled it over because they have lifted that restriction. Pre-pandemic, they had it that you had to spend it by June 30th and you
Yeah.
had to send in receipts that you were spending it. They have lifted that you can have that money and you can roll it over, because they're thinking, like, if you want to do a bigger project or if there's things that you haven't been able to complete within the fiscal year, they're not penalizing towns.
Yeah, I remember that in the past, we'd be like scrambling to spend the money.
So
Going,
thing
another meal?
yeah. So what we can do, like I said, once that money clears in, I mean, I don't think us having the surplus is, I mean, it's obviously a good thing. I get leery because, our van warranty is up in May, and that really does worry me because we don't have that, I know that previously prior to this van, we had an account set aside for van repairs, and now we don't have that. It's been absorbed back into like our normal expense budget. So I think just knowing that we're going to have this as a cushion, again, I don't love the idea of it, but it's there. So, and we can take our time. Like, if there's a bigger project that we want to undertake, it's there.
Why have we not kept a stipend for dealing with a sinking fund for dealing with issues with the van?
So there was a separate account before that was for, I believe, automotive repairs. I believe it just got absorbed back into the expense budget.
Well, can we make a little cofferdam around the money and have it for that?
We can.
Okay, can we put that on the agenda for November? And
I mean, it will be for next fiscal year.
right, but I think I'd like to discuss it a little more. All right, anybody have any other business? Going once?
Wait,
Going
one second,
twice?
Bob. I did have somebody in the community this week ask me about the whole revisiting the senior pen pal thing.
Yes, I got a call about that as well.
Okay.
So,
I think I sent them to you.
yeah, I got a call. Yeah, she
I
called
don't
me.
remember where that landed.
So, she was gonna reach out to the school. I had let her know that we did have a sign up list of about a dozen last year. And I think just between school vacations and something else came up, we weren't able to execute it, but she thinks it's a good idea. She had also asked to see if there may be a way for kids to do like some kind of Christmas celebration. So I was gonna reach out to Crystal Olson down at Northbrook and see if maybe we could have maybe like a little Christmas celebration with some of the seniors down, like between both Northbrooks, not just Northbrook too, but you know, for a lot of them that couldn't get out, like maybe we could have something where, again, if they wanted to do it, you know, we could kind of help organize that.
Yeah. She had talked about even like people singing carols for seniors and stuff and just doing more with, you know, the seniors and then the young in town and forging that relationship. And I told her it's come up, it just keeps, we hit a snag and then something else takes its place.
The caroling thing is actually pretty easy. We did that with a neighborhood council in Worcester. And a number of neighborhood kids and a few adults would go around. There were about 5 or 6 nursing or rest homes in the neighborhood and just go around with them at Christmas and sing. And that was, well, you couldn't always tell if it was well received because they weren't coming out of their rooms, you know, in some cases, but it seems to have, I know that the people who participated in it felt good about it, felt that it was an uplifting kind of thing to do.
So in a world now post-COVID, that's gonna be hard. I'm not gonna say it like for you know, for like nursing homes or things like that. I think for here, what we could do is like places like Northbrook, maybe Brook Lane, Mosaic, things like that, like kind of some of those bigger communities. Maybe we could have it, you know, we could contact people like in those communities and just say, listen, here's the thought. You know, would you have any objections to it? And, you know, we could kind of take it from there. Because like I don't want people like walking down the streets, you know, trying to carol, like with how dark some of these streets are and, you know, things like that. But I mean, if we could kind of get people more like, you know, in centralized locations, like and splitting it up, that might be where to go.
Okay, that's something to anybody in the group here want to work on a project like that? Tick, 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 tick.
Bob, I think you should do it.
Oh, yeah, right. And, you know, put on the hat and this part here is the Santa part. Yeah, okay.
Yes, you can play the part.
Right. Well, I could take your group around the back of the dump truck and just have a few speakers hanging off it and it's sort of a caroling, strolling carol, truck carolers. There you go.
And on that note, guys,
Yeah. All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll
None?
make a
Okay,
motion
we're
to
still in
adjourn.
session. Do I hear a second?
I second.
All those in favor, Karen Schultz,
Aye.
Lori Fairbay,
Aye.
Kate Bliss,
Aye.
Pat Wheeler,
Aye.
Sorry.
Bob Blair, aye. That rings a bell. So we are all set.